Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today's video, I'm going to actually be doing a review of Reddit posts related to U of T, which is the school that I currently go to. I haven't seen anybody do this video before. Maybe I'm mistaken, but I thought it would be interesting because I know that not all questions on Reddit get answered. So I figured, why not try to tackle them in a video, you know? So I've picked out about 10 different posts that I thought that I could perhaps give some insight to. Most of them are people like wondering how U of T is like, or even just how to navigate the system when they are in, maybe if they're like in the lower years or maybe even upper years, who are wondering different things about stuff. So let's get into it. So post number 1: what are social sciences like at U of T? Hi, I'm going to be a uni student in fall 2021. Received an offer. Congrats. I know U of T is a reputation for being tough, so I'm hesitating to make a decision. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, so I'm actually in the social sciences division. I'm doing political science and urban studies, and I'm in my final year. So I ain't gonna lie to you, U of T is tough. It may have just been my experience. I'm sure lots of other people have different experiences. Also, disclaimer, everything in this video is just my opinion. It obviously doesn't reflect everyone's. But I would say that, yes, it is quite difficult. For example, when I first got to U of T, my grades dropped a substantial amount, and I was shook. High school got me cocky. Definitely is difficult. I would say the social sciences department just needs you to learn a different way of studying. Your studying methods may have to change, like mine. I had to change mine. The way you do critical thinking, they look very highly on that, and a lot of the subjects are essay based, at least for my majors, and some of my friends who are in other majors for social sciences programs also have had to switch around sort of their learning styles, what they do to study, how do they prepare for assignments, stuff like that. Okay, sorry, I just want to put my rings on. Hopefully that answers your question, but of course everyone's experience is subjective, and I know some people who have not found U of T very difficult, so I would say that it definitely depends on the person. Second post: Innis College confused. Okay, so this person is wondering about the college system. Yes, it is very confusing. I don't think other unis in Canada have this system, but essentially what it is just you're affiliated with a college when you join an undergrad, and you have to choose one to be in. It determines whether you like what building you will stay in for residence, if you do choose to live in residence, where you get like registrar support for academic advising, all that like logistical stuff, as well as any maybe bursaries or scholarships you might be eligible for. There's also just different cultures for different colleges. I'm personally part of Trinity College, and that's the one where you have to like write the extra excerpt to get in, I think, when you're applying. But definitely be sure to check out sort of what the buildings are like if you do plan on living on residence, checking like sort of what vibe you want, because each college has a different vibe. So for example, this person's asking about Innis College. So like, you don't have to study at Innis College. You can study whatever you want. It's just you live in a certain building, and you can choose Innis College classes. I have some Innis College classes. Hopefully that answers your question. The third post: fed up with group projects. Girl or guy or they them, let me tell you, I understand, because they are a hassle if your group members aren't cooperative or don't want to also put effort into their work, which I totally understand. Yeah, I have tons of horror stories about group projects, but we're not gonna get into that right now. That's the whole can of worms we don't want to open. Number 4: profs' attitudes. Lockdown or just tired, or students or. So this person is talking about how profs are making like snarky remarks and Zoom fatigue, getting barked at. That's kind of sad. Yeah, I think I've been really lucky to have pretty good profs. I haven't had any who are super angry or have expressed it, but I know that everyone is experiencing Zoom fatigue. So okay, my camera died, but I'm back. So I was on the topic of profs' attitudes. I'm really sorry to hear that, but on the bright side, you only have 8 more weeks of class, and definitely reach out to the TAs too. If it really sucks, maybe try reaching out to some of your classmates and see if they feel the same way. If they, of course, have like discriminatory behavior or are really rude to students, I think you can do something about that by telling the registrar and ask them like what they would suggest you do. Okay, number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Number 5, academic structure at the University of Toronto. Hey y'all, hope you're doing well. Hope just got accepted to UTM. Okay, I go to UTSG, but I think maybe it'll still apply. I want to know, how do you select your classes in first year? Yeah, so in first year, essentially you're like planning to get into a major for the next 3 years, and you declare at the end of first year. You can take anything you want technically, but if you have something in mind, sort of an area, make sure you check the major or minor that you want to do and see what the prereqs are for those majors and minors, so that you can get a head start and take those classes, so that you can easily get into the major and minor instead of taking a bunch of assorted things and then not knowing like when you need to do what, or like which direction to take your coursework for the next 4 years. It'll also help you graduate on time, so that you can figure out how many courses you need to take per semester and like what courses you need to take too. So that's super helpful. Can I take classes from other faculties such as science? Yes, so you can take classes from other faculties, I believe. Definitely for the intro first year classes, because they want everyone to get a chance to do it. And then it goes on to ask what are the breadth requirements. So the breadth requirements are essentially, you have to take, let me just look this up so I don't spew misinformation. Okay, yeah, so there's 2 options you can do. Number 1 is you can take at least 1.0 credit in each of the 4 of 5 breadth categories. So there's actually 5 categories. The first one is like creative and cultural representation. Second is thought, belief, and behavior. Third is society and its institutions. Fourth is living things and their environment. And fifth is physical and mathematical universe. It gives you options to take more classes in a more variety of subject fields. And the other option is to take at least 1.0 credit in each of the 3 of 5 categories, plus 0.5 credit in each of the other 2 categories. So how the credit system usually works is 0.5 credits is usually a 1 semester course, and 1.0 is usually a full year course. Or like 1.0 can also be broken up into 2 semesters, if that makes sense. So that you should definitely keep in mind of when planning your courses, because you usually want to try to not push all your breadth requirements to your last final years, just so that you can actually like take things you enjoy instead of trying to fulfill this requirement that UofT makes you do. Okay, number 6. Is it appropriate to ask a prof for a reference letter when you've only had a handful of conversations together? Yeah, so definitely get that struggle. I guess it depends how many reference letters you need, because I know that most things need like 2 or 3, and sometimes it is really difficult to find 2 or 3 professors that you're super close with. I would say if you've had a handful of conversations together, it sounds like maybe you had 2 or 3 or 4, depending on what the conversation was about. I would say definitely don't hesitate to, because I know most profs understand the situation that students are in with applying to things and how difficult it is to get profs to write recommendation letters. And when you are trying to get your prof to write you this reference letter, make sure to sort of preface your email or your phone call with a backgrounder of the class that you had with them or what experience you had with them, just to refresh their memory. As well as, I find it helpful to put like my resume or like my CV in the email as well, just to be like, hey, like in case you want to see more of my work, you can see this too. And be sure to be clear on what you're asking for the reference letter for. So whether that be a scholarship, grad school, fellowship, stuff like that. 7th post. How early did you start thinking about grad school? So I'm in 2nd year and haven't really thought about it until recently. I think this is really up to the person, because I know that some people start like in the beginning, like in first year, and some people start second, third, or fourth. And also people who have decided to go and then chose not to go last minute, or have just changed their mind because of life circumstances and because of COVID too. I would say it really is based on your own comfort level, but for me personally, I started thinking about it in second year, and by then I had already been trying to be active in like clubs, extracurriculars, all of that, and looking for internships. Definitely check out my how to apply to grad school video, which I'll put in the cards here, where I cover more of this in depth. But it definitely is up to you and sort of what direction you want to take your education. But I would say second year is a good time to start thinking about it, and then third year sort of materializing where you want to go, all the prereqs, documents, relationships, stuff like that. Number 8. Any recommendations for summer jobs? Yeah, so my number one recommendation for almost everything is really to just apply super early. Always keep your eye out for things, and if you've passed the deadline, like, that's okay. Just write it down in your agenda or your Google Calendar, whatever you use, to remind yourself of the deadline next year, because likely the annual deadline will be around the same time. Make sure that you fix up your resume, keep it updated, maybe let your friend or the career center look it over. My friend worked at the career center. I can plug her if you guys would like, but definitely hop on it. Like, take that initiative and just start looking early. And by early, I mean like November to January. Number 9. Too late to be cold emailing profs for research. Oh, by the way, all these posts have been chosen from I literally picked them yesterday, so they were posted within the last like 5 days. I think when you're emailing profs for research, you need to make sure you know which opportunity you want them to supervise you in. So whether that be ROP, which is the 299, 399, 499 research class, or if you want them to help you with extracurricular research, make sure you know which opportunity you want and have a clear goal for yourself of what plan you want to take, like what your research is. But definitely don't hesitate to like reach out early, even if you miss like the deadline that you're supposed to do it. Like, for example, if I wanted to do this summer, it might be a bit too late to reach out now. I would reach out like a semester before, just to make sure, because sometimes profs will make deals with other students really early on, so you definitely want to make sure that they haven't been claimed. Oh, and this last one is very similar to the one I actually just talked about, was asking old professors for reference for grad school. So if you know for sure that you had conversations with this prof and they will likely remember your name, then definitely reach out to them. Maybe fill them in on like what you've been doing since then, whether you've been in school, you've been out of school, worked for a couple of years. I'm sure they're always definitely happy to help, but you just definitely want to jog their memory with like the class that you've taken with them, like I mentioned earlier, and also send them your CV, stuff like that. Just anything to allow the prof to remember you better. Don't hesitate to send. Yeah, hope you enjoyed this video, and if you would like me to do more stuff related to U of T or to grad school or to life in general, feel free to comment down below. Remember to give this a like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in my next video.